Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, a podcast about all things Hastings United. On today's show today we have Hollington manager Scott Price. Here he talks about his side's return to league action as they fight it out for promotion in this COVID-affected mini-league. We also have Rye Siegel, Hastings announcer and matchday Twitter aficionado, bringing us exclusive pre-match and post-match from our women's team's return to action, with thanks to Andy Corrigan and Skinner-Swain. And finally, Hastings Supremo, Chris AGUTTER, talking players re-signing, his ethos when working with players and what makes a good one. Also his thoughts on what's happening to his beloved Gooners. Enjoy, Hastings fans. Over to Scott Price, Hollington manager. Scott, how are you first of all?
I'm good, yourself?
Yeah, not. So Scott, what's it feel like to be back with your team, your side? Have you met up with them yet?
Yeah, we had a friendly on Tuesday.
Yeah? And how did that go? I mean, that must have felt fantastic.
It was alright. Against Stars Academy.
Oh, okay.
Who were young, fit, and made us look. But the thing is, they've been together all through the pandemic because they're a school, they're overseas players, so they could carry on if you like.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I mean, I'll tell you, who's there. Panache plays for your 21.
Oh, all right, yeah.
He plays for them and stuff. But yeah, it was good. I think we lost about 7-5 or something in the end. I can't remember what the score was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to be back.
Yeah. I mean, have you kept the majority of the team together? I mean, it must be difficult.
Well, what am I now? I've been managing 12 years overall. I think this little period now is probably the hardest ever because you're in between players who, to be fair, pretty much like myself, who just don't care as such because we've missed football so much. And, with coming like tomorrow, I'll reel some names off. You've got Danny Andrews, Wes Tate, Jamie Crone, Glenn Woodhurst, Brett Patton, Callum Smith and Baylor all missing. Oh, wow. Because every single one of them, apart from Danny Andrews, is injured, they're all working. And it's, when the league proposed what they're going to do to the clubs, obviously I had to propose this to the players because there's no point me saying yes and no one wanting to play. It was very, very 50-50. And because every other team in the league were going for it, it was almost like can't really be the only team to say no. Yeah. So I rallied around, got a few players together who, like Jack Dixon, a couple of the under-18s. I didn't want to stop the ones that wanted to play. Yeah. I mean, people say about, you signed him, but the reality is I can only play 2 players that have played 8 or more games at senior level.
Oh, blimey.
So, you look at my team, I've got Callum Smith, Baylor, Dale Penn, Jack Dixon. There's 4 players. I can only pick 2 from that. Oh. So everyone's, you said, you've got this, but the reality is you can only play 2 anyway, so. Oh,
okay.
So it's been hard to get. It's very hard to get a squad this weekend because we've got games Saturday and Monday. We start tomorrow away at Sporting Linfield. I've got a side, and Monday I'm hoping I've got a side, but we haven't played for so long. God knows what they're going to feel like Sunday morning, and then play again Monday. But then
bit creaky.
Yeah, it's going to be. It is what it is, I'm surprised the league have put the league title on it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, mate, because I have been keeping up with some of the stuff going on, but I was going to say, so there is, in this mini league, if you win it, you've got the title.
Yeah, they divided the league into two, the top 7 and bottom 7 by points per game. And then we was going to start with 0 points everyone. And then the league last week decided they're going to do points per game as well. So we start 2 points behind Sidley.
Yeah.
I find it a little bit unfair, not so much on us, but on like Sporting Linfield and Willingdon, who have got, even if they won every game, I think they would struggle to win the league. Yeah. It's, the only thing that I think the integrity of it might struggle with, say for argument's sake, a team loses maybe the first 2-3 games, are they going to show up for them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think they would, but we've seen it before at this level of football where I don't know. But the league itself, I think we had 16 league games left when it was shut. I think we was 4 points behind Sidley with still to play. So if we were looking at a way of winning the league, I suppose we're probably in a better situation because it's actually in our hands now.
Yeah.
Where before we would needed Sidley to drop points elsewhere. I don't know, but then if I'm honest with you, we just want to play football.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's not about winning the league. It's just about trying to get back to normality.
Yeah, I think everyone's. I mean, officially, but I know from the fans' point of view, we want to get back out there supporting our teams and that. And I'm sure once the gates are open properly at Hollington, you're going to get a bumper crowd. I mean, when is that? When's the first week that officially you can have people in?
I think it's the 12th. Which, if it is, I think it's only. We're only about to have one game, which would be our last game of the season.
Well, it could all matter then, couldn't it? That'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
That'd be nice, yeah. I mean, like I said before, I said people on social media, we can't actually stop people coming into the ground.
Yeah, I know that's not for you. Yeah, I mean that's not for you. What that goes on. I mean, some of these rules are ridiculous.
Hastings, it's Hastings ground. They've got gates; they can lock it up. Whereas our club is open to the community. You can walk your dog on the pitch. There's that sort of club.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a few dog walkers, mate.
Well, yeah, bank holiday Monday is 11 o'clock.
Is it 11 o'clock kickoff? No, that's not doing you any favours, is it? 11 o'clock in the morning. I suppose you get it out of the way and then.
I suppose it gives you the rest of the day. It's like on a Saturday, you kick off at 2, but your whole day's gone. You can't do nothing in the morning.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, as you're saying, it sounds like you're trying to scrape a team together because of work and everything. I mean, it's tough times. But how's Dicko? Did Dicko play the friendly then?
Yeah, Jack played.
Yeah, and does he look like near 70-80%, or was he nearly spot on, or?
He looked fine for our level, don't worry.
Yeah.
Let's be fair to Jack. I mean, people, we have been criticised signing Jack, but I had Jack right. He's played for me for years.
Yeah.
We've got a connection. It's not like I've just gone out and tried to sign all the best players.
Yeah. You Hollington don't mind a bit of criticism anyway, do you? You love it, so I won't be bothered.
Oh, we love it. We'd always get criticism.
The
only thing that annoyed me a little bit with that criticism was the year before we played all these academy players at Hastings, and no one seemed to care that I was dropping players to play these players. But if I hadn't signed, Sam Pratwell's no one that signed. Hadn't signed these players, we wouldn't have signed. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've got about 12 tomorrow.
Blimey.
But I've got to have a boots.
Yeah, I don't know. That's stress. That is, mate. That's.
It is considering I've got about 50 players signed up.
And is that all through work? They just can't make it, or mostly.
I mean, I say Danny Andrews. Unfortunately for him, he might look into retire now. He done his knee playing 5-a-side on Monday night. He's only just come back from a knee injury.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so that's a real shame. Brett Patton's, he's struggling with groin problems. It's just not. When you talk to these players and you do want them to play, but I'm not a manager who I'm not gonna jump up and down and run down the streets if we were to win the league. To me, Brett's groins are more important. That sounds wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, I won't quote you on that, mate. Yeah, go on.
It's more important for Brett's health.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, he's young. He wants to play football still, and he was just to come because we're short players. I wouldn't sit right with me.
No, fair dues.
It's entirely up to them. I've not put any pressure on the players if they're working. I mean, I've worked all through the pandemic. I think this is the first time I've got actually time off work since I worked all over Christmas.
Yeah.
So when people say, "I heard you resigned," I haven't resigned. It's just if my missus decides we want to go, she wants to go to the zoo when it opens, I'll be going to the zoo.
Yeah.
Football will become second.
No, fair dues.
It would never normally do, but in this scenario, like anyone else, it would, because we've been cooped up. It's not just footballers been cooped up, families been cooped up. And once everything opens, if she wants to take the little one to the zoo, who am I to say no?
Oh yeah, I know. I'm down Knockcatch as soon as it opens.
Yeah, of course you are.
Yeah. My 4-year-old's she wants in there. Well, so you were saying about this league. So this final game.
Our final match is on the bank holiday Monday. Definitely on the Monday. It's home to Willingdon and it's 11 o'clock kick-off again. So I know it's
the third. Yeah. Obviously, you get as many people in there as you can.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, obviously we go down to the pilot field as well to play Sidley on the week before that.
Oh yeah, because Sidley are playing a few games at the pilot field.
Yeah, they're playing their 3 games there. Yeah, and we got them our second to last game.
All right. Well, there'll be a lot of people bunking over a wall, I reckon. Getting chased about.
I think by then you may be allowed to support us.
Oh, bloody hope so.
24th, I think that is.
I know, it's ridiculous, mate. I mean, anything else, Scott, you want to say? Because, I mean, one of the things I wanted to mention was because I see a lot of stuff that you put up on I don't know if it's yourself or whoever runs the Hollington social media, that you get involved in a lot of good causes. So is there anyone that you want to mention or shout out, in terms of all, because you are involved with quite a lot of stuff locally?
To be fair, I mean, it's something that, like I said before, the area in Hollington is a very unique area. People, if you're from Hollington, it's a wonderful place. If you're not from Hollington, you think, what the hell is this place? It's one of them places. But, they rally together, and Dom's Food Mission obviously is a big one who's been on board with us for quite a while now. He now uses the football club to feed people from his van. At the moment, because of the pandemic, he doesn't use the clubhouse. So he parks a couple of his vans up in the clubhouse, and he gets over 60 families, feeds over 60 families in the area. And I think it's going to get bigger and bigger because, I mean, hopefully I've never been in that position, but I can imagine a lot of people a little bit proud to do it. Yeah. I think once they get wind where no one gets judged, no one gets asked, do you really need it? People just turn up. He gives them whatever they need, and then once the pandemic's over, we're in talks with him coming into the building and using it to cook as well for people.
Oh, nice.
The homeless. And I think the council will be involved as well, because it's just, there's more, we're not, people, although we are arguably the second biggest club in the town, we're never going to be in the situation what Hastings are, where, people compare us unfairly on both clubs. Hastings are a business. They're looking to, I imagine, looking to get to at least National South, if not further. And they should do, especially the size of the town and the size of the club. Whereas we're just trying to, we want to move up, of course we do, but at the moment, with the ground, it's, we're a long way from anything. So, what we can do is help the community and trying to keep kids off the streets, etc., with free football as well, which we do in the summer. All the time we can do things like that, we will.
When's that starting up again then, that summer football, Scott?
That will be down to, it's all up in the air at the moment because we use Hornshire.
Yeah.
The youth sector all use Hornshire, and it's a great facility down there. But obviously cricket's back now, and from what I'm hearing, I think Hornshire is getting knocked down next year or the year after.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is the problem with, we spoke about before with the facilities in the town. It's pathetic, really. This is why the town does need a new facility, whether it be up Tarkion or Sam or whatever. The town 100% needs something.
Yeah, we definitely deserve better facilities. Complete agreement. I mean, so where's the cricket team going then?
They might be going to Claremont or something like that. I'm not sure.
Oh, is it?
I don't quite.
Oh, okay.
I know they are supposed to be getting rid of Hornshire. I think it's just costing too much money.
Oh, blimey!
It's crazy. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised the football was never put there. To be honest.
Well, let's end this on a. Let's end it. Sound like we're on a downer here, but it's great to have football back, and what I'll try and do is when we're posting this out, I'll make sure I mention it loads of times. Particularly that last game, I'm going to put all your fixtures out in case people are accidentally walking their dogs near your ground. But the definitely the last fixture as well, because it's a lovely little ground you got, and particularly if hopefully you lot are playing for the title, it'd be a great thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if we are, then Christ, yeah, I imagine it'd be even in there. I remember we played Sidley when we won the Sussex Premier League a couple of years ago, and I think there was easily over 350 people in there.
Oh, excellent.
The neighbours didn't like it because the road wasn't very... but unfortunately, being in a council estate, you get that.
Yeah. All right, and Scott, well, listen, thanks for your time, mate, and I hope it goes well for you all lot.
Yeah, much appreciated.
And I might be walking my dog on Monday, even though I ain't got one.
I've got 4, so I've got one.
Oh, is it? I'll borrow one. All right. Okay. All right. You take care, Scott.
Yeah, and you.
See you, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Here's Ryan Siegel with his pre-match, match review and post-match from the Hastings women's team.
I'm here before the match with Hastings United women's coach Andy Corrigan. Andy, how does it feel to be back at the football?
Buzzing. It's just good to be back training during the week, and knowing that you've got a match on the weekend to work towards is just a brilliant feeling, and I know the girls are buzzing to be back as well.
So during the lockdown, the most recent one, we made a few signs including Georgia Tibble, Holly Carter and Blair Hamilton. So what do you think they're going to add to the squad and how have they integrated so far?
They've added competition. A lot of the girls know they've got to work harder now to be playing in the starting 11, and competition can only be a good thing for the rest of the squad.
So obviously this season's been disrupted by COVID and the like, so I guess the question is, as a coach this season, what do you want to see your team do come the end of the year?
It's got to be the league title. That's what we set out to do from the beginning of the season, and hopefully we can get there as a team. Along with the signings, going back to that, it's added to the squad, so we've got a squad built to win the league, I believe. So we just have to wait and see if performances match the ability of the squad.
Okay, thank you very much. Andy Corrigan.
Right, Ryan, absolute pleasure speaking to you. This exclusive match review from yourself. First of all, what was it like? What was it like seeing all the players again? Give us the sort of feel, the pre-match feel, and how the game went.
First off, thank you for having me in it. It's just the anticipation and feeling of being in a football match. It's an unrivaled feeling, and it's just been missed so much because you enter the ground, there's just a buzz, and you can feel the excitement of the players because obviously this was the first game they'd played in quite a long time as well. And in terms of the match, I don't like using the term a game of two halves, but you can almost classify it as that because the first half was kind of end to end, neither side was really able to settle down. We were on top, but we never quite sort of put a stamp on things to dominate. Whereas in the second half we managed to do that and limit Burgess Hill to very few chances. We ourselves played some really good football, had most of the possession, and obviously scored 3 goals in the second half to confirm what was a deserved victory.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I mean, any sort of standouts from the game, player-wise?
Yeah, my player of the match was one of the players making her debut, Georgia Tibble. Her footwork was fantastic. She looked a menace the entire time and got 2 goals, including an absolute peach, a sort of 25-yard curler, which no goalkeeper in the world could have saved. There were also the other 2 recruits made their debuts. Holly Carter looked a fantastic presence in midfield despite being only 16. And Blair Hamilton was living up to her nickname of the washing machine. She kept a second half clean sheet, dealing with everything that came her way. And in terms of other standout performers, props to Naomi Corrigan, who had to step in 4 minutes into play at left back, a position less natural to her because she's an attacking player, and did quite adequately there, so well done to her. But otherwise it was a great team performance. There were a number of standouts, and they can carry that confidence through to the challenge of Eastbourne Town on Wednesday.
Okay, and is that in Eastbourne or is that at Pilot Field?
Wednesday's match is at the Pilot Field. There is only one away friendly, which is next Sunday at Crawley Wasps Development.
Yeah, you take care, Ray. All right.
And you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
bye.
I am here with Jay Skinner-Swain and Andy Corrigan after the U's 4-1 victory at home to Burgess Hill Development Squad to restart their season after the COVID lockdown. Jay, how are you feeling after today's game and return to form?
It's really good to be back. I think we were all getting a bit bored, a bit itchy feet in lockdown. Good to get 18 girls out there and get some minutes under their belt. It's looking positive. We'll keep building over our next 2 friendlies ahead of the restart of the league.
This one goes to you, Andy. So, new signings in action today. What did you make of them? What do you think they'll contribute towards the end of the season?
I think from what you saw today, they've had a big impact already. Well, it's added competition to the squad. Along with what Jay's just said, we've got so many girls, and to be able to give them all minutes today is what it's all about. The results a bonus.
Do you think these friendlies, because we've got 3 friendlies, Eastbourne on Wednesday and next Sunday Crawley, so how do you feel these friendlies will prepare you for a return to league football? Do you think that you're going to rotate a lot? What do you think the key is going to be to using these friendlies to their optimum advantage?
Well, today we went for a different approach in formation-wise, so we went for a 4-2-3-1, which pre-lockdown we didn't do, but the new intake of players have sort of forced our hand, which is positive, but it will give us more time practicing that. But in a way, it's trying to juggle that with time on the training pitch, which can also be very beneficial, because of course you can only play 11 players on a pitch at a time.
Changing their formation's been a bonus today. I think it gave us more space in the middle of the park, and with the formation, it just matches the personnel that we have. So we're very good going forward, and the players have not a free role, but they know their jobs, but they're open to attack more.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That will be all.
Over to the boss man himself, Chris AGUTTER. Hey, Aggie.
Chris, how are you? All right?
Not bad, mate. How's life?
Good. Yeah, all good.
Yeah. You cracking on with that beard, mate?
I know. Well, It's the hair more than anything.
It's looking
the hair's
tremendous.
wild. Everyone else seems to be breaking the rules on the lockdown front. Like everyone else is coming in with trim haircuts, whereas I'm walking around looking horrendous. But got to try and make the best of it.
Well, talking of haircuts, I know we're going off topic here, but saw Dicko playing for Hollington, and he's got a very tidy haircut, so he's definitely been a naughty boy, I think.
He's a man. No, to be fair, I think his other half does it for him, actually. So I think because I saw him and I commented on the fact that his hair looks as immaculate as ever, and he said his better half had been doing it. So, but Dicko takes pride in his hair.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good haircut.
It's very black as well. Yeah, I'm not suggesting nothing. Anyway.
No. To be fair, that's all natural.
Was it? Oh, right. Okay.
There's no cover-ups. He's just blessed when it comes to hair. So, it's all good.
Reason that got you back on again, Chris. Obviously, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to the boss. Yeah, obviously we've just signed a few people up for contracts, which is nice. The veteran players, particularly, we need that spine in the side. Is there any more coming up, or have we got any business? Do you think we're going to be doing before start of the season?
Yeah, no, I think we're pretty much on the squad last year. We've retained, I think 99% of them. To be fair, it's just a couple that we're waiting on due to not really footballing reasons, but more changing circumstances. But yeah, no, I think we could announce signings en masse tomorrow. Obviously, it's important that information goes out gradually to keep a good flow of information rather than all in one hit, which I think the club does really well, to be fair. I think it keeps a good flow of positive information. So, but yeah, no, in the main, we are pretty much there in terms of last season's squad. Obviously, we in a positive way lost David and Ben Ward, so it's a case of replacing them. And I mean, we're in a really good position. So when I originally took over, it was a real challenge to try and attract players to the club, because we were near the bottom of the league and we were going in a different direction. And it was quite I don't think Hastings was seen as a particularly appealing club, other than wages were decent. Whereas we obviously opted to go in a different direction, and we were right at the start of that journey. So attracting the right type of player was originally really difficult. And now the challenge is we've obviously done well last couple of years, and the type of football we play and the sort of progress we've made has meant that we can now attract lots of players. It's more a challenge of attracting the right ones. So yeah, there's players outside of Hastings currently that we're looking at and that we're speaking to. But for me, the main thing is giving the opportunities from within the academy set up. So who's the next Ben Ward, who's the next David, Adam Lovett, Jamie Fielding and Cohen. And, to be fair, the academy's going from strength to strength. And we played Eastbourne Town first team this past Saturday with an under-19 team with an average age of 17 years old. And we're very competitive. So when you think that we're doing that to teams a league below, it shows the positive progress the academy's made, but also like the potential of the players that we've got.
Yeah, I saw some of those in the when I talked to you about the Bexhill game. And yeah, there does seem to be a lot of talent, and that's one of the reasons why I got you on again, Chris. Was just talking about the expert eye. From my perspective, I've been doing it a long time, so I'm just short of 20 years of coaching. You don't look old enough, Chris. No, I know. I started when I was 15. So and having the management side of things, I'm a novice at really. I've only been doing it, as you know, sort of for coming up to 5 years, whereas I've been actually coaching and youth development wise, been working for, as I said, nearly 20 years. So, I don't think by any means I'm an expert, but one thing that we're starting to see now is with more and more lads going to pro clubs, you're starting to see trends and starting to see definite sort of comparisons between players, and that can obviously help with the process of the next player coming through, really. I think, to be honest, my big thing is if I've got a young lad, how would I want them to be treated if I was their parent? That's my big thing is, would I be happy if that was my son or my child being dealt with in that way, or being given that sort of guidance and direction or support? And I always sort of think if we can get ourselves in a position where what we're asking from the players is if I had a parent's hat on, I'd be happy with that. You go, not too far wrong. There'll be mistakes, and we've made plenty of mistakes. Like in my time at Hastings, there's players that have slipped through, and where I'm a lot softer now than what I was 4 or 5 years ago. I'm a lot more laid back and probably a lot more empathetic than what I was. And I think we're definitely in a better position now to work with the players and develop the players. But it's all, as I said, it's all experience, and all the time it's a willingness from our perspective to learn and keep moving forwards and review what you do. And if you make a mistake, move forwards. And it's a lot of it's trial and error as well. But what we're starting to see is definite trends and definite traits among players that are pushing on, and things that we've done or not done. You go, well, we're not too far off it. I mean, do you have to treat players differently? I wanted to kind of really look into like what you look at for a player. The big thing is I think when we talk about players, we're talking about human beings, and we're talking about young men. I think that's the most important thing. And I think the idea of being treated equally. So for me, that equality is the right to be treated differently. And I think that is good coaching in terms of everyone is different. Yeah. Everyone needs different types of support and different types of advice. And I think if you can not generalize and take each individual in their own right, I don't think you can go too far wrong. Yeah. I think ultimately, if you're genuinely, your motive is, let's try and help this young man or young girl, boy, girl, whatever. If you're trying to help them fulfill their potential, there will be mistakes, but you can't go too far wrong. And I think if you get to know the person and you get to know the individual and what pushes their buttons and what motivates them, then I think as soon as you know the human being, then you can start really moving in the right direction. And so there's players at first team level that I treat completely different to other players. Well, and I think that is good coaching in terms of being able to differentiate from
your Jack Dixon, for example, to your Jake Elliott. They're two completely different people. And as I said, like with younger players, it's getting to know them. And also, like a challenge for me is when I deal with the younger lads. Obviously, talking outside of the academy, is not all of them will become Hastings United first team players. But that doesn't mean that we don't try and help them fulfil their potential. So I know there is some lads that 90%, 95%, some of them 99% won't play for Hastings United. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to try and help them fulfil their potential.
Yeah.
And I think if you can work with that sort of attitude towards each player, tailoring your work on an individual basis with a view to let's try and help them achieve their potential. As I said, I don't think you can go too far wrong.
Well, I suppose it's having that time, isn't it? And giving them that time.
Yeah, I think often we have it with, obviously we work closely with teachers and the education program side of things to create the under-19 program. And I think forever the challenge is to sort of treat people how you'd like to be treated yourself.
Yeah. And
to be fair, I've made loads of mistakes, and I've said things, and you think, even 20 minutes later, you think, I shouldn't have done that, or that was a bit much, or you go the other way, I was a bit soft with that. I could have been a bit stronger with that. And I think that again, ultimately, it's just communicating with people and talking to people on a level. So, I don't really talk down to people as such. I just try and have conversations with people, and it's quite an informal process. I think it's quite a human process. It's like, it's not sitting down in the office looking someone in the eye and saying, we're doing this. It's not necessarily out on the training pitch directing a tactical session. I think coaching now more and more, it's the informal conversation in the corridor where it's just as I said, an informal chat on a human level rather than being dictatorial or directing people. I just think it's the best way to go.
Well, the results speak for themselves if COVID hadn't come along.
Yeah. Yeah, I think and it's not just on an academy level, it's on the first team level as well. And it's amazing where just by being honest and straight with people, don't get me wrong, I don't want to give off the impression that it's all flowers and roses and it's all lovely. It's
group
like
hugs,
Valentine's
group
Day.
hugs.
Yeah, it's part of being treated how you'd like to be treated yourself is to be straight with people. So
absolutely.
For my thing, if I'm not delivering, I want to be told. I want to know where I'm falling short. And we're the same with the staff. So, amongst the staff, we review absolutely everything and we're brutally honest with each other. I think, again, that's how I would like to be treated. And I think in terms of player development and dealing with different people, I don't think you can go too far wrong. They might not like what you say, but ultimately it's with the best interests at heart, not just being horrible for the sake of it. You're trying to work towards improving them as a person and ultimately from a first team perspective, winning promotion.
Well, just going back to what we were saying about what you look for in a player, I know there's different things for different levels. You'll have obviously someone that you're looking at if you want them in the academy, to a first team player. I mean, is there anything we touched on when we were speaking about the Bexhill game, and just what from that sort of that level, what do you look for if you're at that game? What are you looking for to excite you to think, hang on, he's got something about him?
I think everyone has their own personal preference and their own personal bias, in terms of what they look for. I've forever sat in rooms with coaches where they reel off what players can't do. And I almost sort of think sometimes it gets overlooked. Well, what actually can they do?
Yeah.
So just trying to, because ultimately if the players could do all the things that we've highlighted they can't do, then they wouldn't be at the level they are. They'd be playing. So I think it's, firstly, having an awareness of what you're dealing with and the level you work and the level that's in front of you. So a player pulling up trees at Bexhill United is different to a player pulling up trees at Hastings United, let's be honest, because the level's different. So I think it's having an awareness of what you're looking at. As I said, personal preference. But as a general rule, the big thing is we're working more towards character and personality. So physicality and character and personality are two things that are the most difficult to develop. They're the most difficult ones to affect. You can make people quicker, but not significantly quicker. I've never seen someone turn a snail into Usain Bolt. I've never seen it. So, and personality and character-wise, obviously you can have influence on that, but it's very difficult to to change with limited time.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's more what their home life looks like and stuff like that, which is very difficult for us to impact. So they're two things that we look at straight away is go character, physicality. If they're ticking both them boxes, then the other areas in terms of touch and technique and ability to handle the ball and the tactical side of it, we can affect a little bit more. They're a lot easier to affect. So in a general view, if you're looking at someone and they can get around the pitch, and when I say character, it doesn't mean shouting and bawling and having a go at people. Like little things like seeing a winger when the opposition fullback is overlapping and the winger just lets them go and leaves their fullback hanging out to dry. That tells me something a little bit about their makeup between their ears. Whereas if you see a Lamre Aziz who will die to get back to help his fullback, it's a reflection of sort of his character and personality. And like Ben Ward last year, I knew Ben was going to push on. It was before the Herne Bay game, and in the middle of a team talk, and a massive game, biggest game that Ben would have ever played in, he interrupted me mid-flow in the middle of a team talk in front of everyone and said, "Aggie, can I just stop you there? I just need you to clarify what my role is today because I'm not 100% sure."
Wow.
As soon as he said that, I thought, yeah, he's got a chance because he didn't care about potentially looking embarrassed in front of his teammates. He wasn't fearful of or worried about a reaction from me. It was, no, I want to get it right.
Yeah.
And I'm prepared to put myself in an uncomfortable situation to make sure I've sort of, and I can do my job. And whereas 90% of the other younger lads will just, everyone understand, nod and smile, And in fact, they're not sure. And so when Ben done that, I thought, he's going to go. Like he's going to push on.
Yeah.
So straight away, if you've got those sorts of traits, and as I said, physicality, like with Ben, another good example, left-footed, it's a fact. You've got much more opportunity to progress in football if you play off your left side because there's that much fewer left-footed players. He could get around the pitch, big, strong, tall, things that we can't affect. So he ticked the box character and personality-wise. He was not exceptional athletically, but he ticked a lot of boxes. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, we can work on the technical and tactical side of it. So yeah, I know it's a long answer to the question, but again, I think it goes back to my original point about treating everyone individually. So what you look for in a winger is completely different to what you look for in a centre back. I think it's just having an understanding of the game and also, as I said, an awareness of what you're looking at and looking at people's strengths rather than their weaknesses. Is viewing people as, right, no, they can't do that, but let's help them along the way rather than just dismiss them because they can't do this. Yeah, but they can do that. They can do that. So let's try and develop areas for weaknesses, but also develop super strengths as well. There's a lot of people talk about areas for development. Well, what about say someone's a brilliant crosser of the ball?
Yeah.
But they're not so good at their finishing. I reckon a lot of people go loads of work on finishing. Yeah, but we don't need to work on the crossing. He's great at that. Well, actually, why don't we turn this kid into David Beckham? And you go, he is an elite, unbelievable crosser of the ball. Yeah, he can't finish, but if he goes into a wide area and he's on the ball, this guy is elite. He's the best. So I think it's important with development of players. It's identifying weaknesses. Yes, we'll work on them. Yes, but also this kid is great at this. Let's really give him an opportunity to practice it and become, as I said, elite at a certain thing. So like a super strength.
Actually, just popped into my head when I was chatting with David Rodari a while back, and he was talking about he did a video and he put it round, and I don't know if you saw it or that's how you caught up with him. Do you get many of those?
Loads. I get absolutely loads.
Yes.
And
how do you file them?
Well, the sad thing is I make a conscious since David in football. It's funny because you'll message someone in football and they won't reply. And it's just like accepted. And you just think, well, that's rude. And it's amazing the amount of like people that I've spoken to. It might just be me, but there's a lot of people I know that say, it's just football, it's just what it is. Like people don't reply and you think, well, that's rude. So I've always made a conscious effort to reply to every single and acknowledge every single email or message I've had from trialists, either the trialist himself or an agent. I always make sure, even if it's thank you for the email, or the contact. At this moment in time, we don't have any opportunities, but just genuinely being sort of courteous.
Yeah.
And so, and it's funny when I reply, the next message is always, "I'm so surprised that you reply, because not normally people do." You just think it's unbelievable.
Oh,
but yeah, and the David story was, I got an email from his brother who changed his name from what his actual name was, and basically pretended to be David's agent, not his brother. And so then David come up, and then David come over, and he done all right. He was a winger, come over it for 2 days, trained, and then played in a trial game, and he didn't blow anyone away. Like, it wasn't like wow. Like when you first saw Tom, it was like TC. You thought, wow, this kid's like David was nowhere near like that, which is why he's a really good example to a lot of younger lads in terms of, like, it was just he wasn't particularly big, he wasn't particularly strong, he wasn't particularly quick. He wasn't, I wouldn't say, an amazing finisher. He played left wing. He just looked like a little bit like Ronaldo. It was like, and so we were like, it's a lot of hassle because of international clearance and stuff like that. But we sort of thought, no, let's go with it. And then he had to wait like 10 months for international clearance. It was mental. But he was overtraining. He relocated. He moved in with us. We ended up moving his position to down the middle. And just it was his work ethic and desire and hunger to improve and just to take on board information. Again, personality and character.
Yeah.
No one could give David that. That was him. And obviously, whether that's natural or nurture or his family background, but whatever it was, it certainly had a great outcome for him. And he just worked so hard. And that's really what sort of propelled him to do what he's done.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's injured at the moment, isn't he? I think
he's
hamstring. Yeah. I mean, I know everyone wishes him well, and he's such a nice bloke. If only for those injuries, we'd have seen a lot more of it. He probably would have gone a lot sooner because he's a very good player. And I know we all wish him the best at Crawley. So you obviously you get a lot of people to think they know what they're talking about, and and I know you tolerate a lot of that, but it was lovely, by the way, to see all the gang again at the Hollington game. We were all walking our dogs at that point, and they're all talking about Football Manager. What's all that about? I mean, I'm not a fan. I played that back in the day, but like yourself.
I was Championship manager back in the day.
See, I was Championship manager.
Yeah.
And then it's like it started glorified spreadsheet, the new one, this thing, and it's like you hear them, and then they all sound like they're experts talking about these, and you just think you're just a set of numbers. A player, as you've just said, a player is a set of numbers.
Yeah.
To a degree, it is, I suppose, but
no, I think there's a lot of pub. We call it pub chat.
Yeah.
Right. Pub level of football, like conversational chat, which is fine. I mean, and I don't want to sound like a snob or anything like that, because I'm conscious. I make a conscious effort to be really open. Whether naturally my natural inclination is to listen to people, I'm not sure, but I've sort of trained myself over the years to be really open, because one of my things is I hate it when you're talking to someone and they're not listening. It's a real bugbear of mine. When they ask your opinion and then when you're talking, they then go on their phone. Like, it's just like, so I hate that. So I try and acknowledge as much as possible. And to be fair, like my wife sometimes said to me, she said, "Why do you listen?" Like, it's sort of what but it's more like, I think, basic manners and also being open. So I think don't get too stressed out by it and too worried by it. I think there's loads of armchair critics that have an opinion, but when they have the balls to put themselves in the situation to go and actually be, like there's that saying, and it's the man in the arena. It's like a quote. It's up in the office in terms of actually, you might fail, but sort of at least you had the balls to get out there and put yourself out there. It's that sort of thing. So it used to bother me more, whereas it doesn't now really. And I think often what you find is, well, when people talk, you don't have to say much. They normally hang themselves with what they come out with. So I'm
they
pretty
they usually contradict themselves every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think as well in football, it's ultimately about winning. So we could deliver the best working week on the training pitch and it be unbelievable, Guardiola level of coaching, and then lose Saturday and we'd be rubbish. Whereas we could not turn up all week, have no plan, and we win the game and everyone's like, this guy's a genius. So I just think it's so results driven that ultimately the only thing that matters is putting points on the board, especially at a club like Hastings where we have been as successful as what we have, and it is very much not all or nothing, because I think we do have obviously other positive outcomes in terms of selling players and moving players on, but ultimately a club like Hastings should be, like supporters wise, that could compete with the likes of Barnet in the National League and Dover in terms of being able to attract supporters. A club like Hastings should be at a higher level. And so, I sort of accept it for what it is. Really, it's very much results driven.
Well, thanks for your time, Chris. I've got to leave you on this. I've got to leave you on this though. We need to talk about the Arsenal, right?
Yeah, please don't.
What are we thinking? Is he going to stay there for a few years? Do you think? Do you think they're going to be loyal to him?
It's so difficult to comment until you know the ins and outs of, and that's not me sitting on the fence. It's a bit like
a little bit,
yeah. But it's so genuinely, it's so difficult to. Again, if I relate it to this position at Hastings, people will go, "Why is so-and-so not playing?" Oh, it's ridiculous. He should be playing. When in fact, like, people don't see what the week leading up to it looks like, and then we're not privy to all the information. But I just think from Arsenal's perspective, I don't know. Like that's probably the problem. You never know what you're going to get. I don't think the recruitment's been particularly great, and I think recruitment is everything in football. I think you could be the best coach in the world, but if you don't get your recruitment right, you can only do so much. So, you look
at. Why
David
do you think that, Aggie? Because you lot have been, your team had been playing good football. I mean, I remember back in the day when you were long ball Arsenal, but you've been years and years and years a very good passing side. So what went wrong with the recruitment, do you think?
I think it was a bit of a slow death, to be fair, because I don't think we ever really replaced Sol Campbell, Kolo Touré, that ilk of defender. I mean, like an elite level defender, an elite level centre back. And I think it's happened over time. It's been a slow decline. But what I would also say is I think a lot of Arsenal fans would now love to have Arsene Wenger back and would love to be in the top
old
four.
Arsenal fan TV, eh?
So I think perhaps in hindsight you realise what a good job he done. But also I just think it's again, common sense is so lacking in football, I find. Genuinely, just common sense thinking. Like in terms of when we're coaching, I don't think we do anything particularly groundbreaking at all. I just think we look at the game and we work back from that. What does the game look like? Well, training needs to look remotely like that, and that's it. It's nothing amazing. And I think from a recruitment perspective, it's the same. This is how Mikel Arteta wants to play. This is what he wants his team to look like. Therefore, certain positions need to be able to perform certain actions and certain roles. Well, let's go and get the players that can do that. So Mikel Arteta wants to play over back four, but they've re-signed David Luiz on a 2-year contract, who really is only a top defender in a back three.
Yeah.
Whenever he's played in the back four, he's traditionally struggled.
Yeah.
But Arsenal have put him on a 2-year contract with a manager that wants to work towards playing over the back four. And you think,
who's in charge?
Again, but again, it's just like common sense. I just think, what's the thinking behind that? So I just think, I think recruitment's the main thing, Chris. But also, I get the vibe with, because Aubameyang got dropped, didn't he, for I don't know which game it was, and that got put out there publicly.
Yeah,
and I do think that as soon as you do that with a player who's a world-class player or was a world-class player, he's club captain. I think as soon as you start doing things like that, you're treading on dangerous territory, and you almost need to draw a line in the sand. So different sort of situation, really, and obviously a completely different level. But we had the similar sort of thing at Hastings, where I made a decision to basically move on the club captain, who was fans' favourite, and it was a really uncomfortable time in amongst some really poor results when we first took over. But you almost got to draw a line in the sand and go, this is what I'm going to do. And you've almost got to be quite stubborn with it and go, this is what I believe in. Because what you don't want to do is get caught half and half.
Yeah.
And have what you view as a problem in the dressing room festering. And then all of a sudden you get potentially, again, I'm just sort of reading between the lines, you then got what we saw against Liverpool, where you had a front four that looked like they were disinterested and certainly weren't fighting for the team. So, but what do I know?
Yeah. No, Chris, thanks for your time, mate. And
my pleasure.
And well, are you going to be going to any of the games at all? I mean, I know you were potentially playing for Westfield. That don't look like that's happening now. You're obviously your fee's too much now.
No, it was when because I originally messaged Mark and just said, because I sort of thought, I want to get out and run around a bit and play a bit, because I play a bit of six-a-side, and I just thought, wow, you can go and do a bit of training and all the rest of it and just sort of stay active really, rather than because Saturdays were pretty clear. And then they put a massive announcement out. I was like, oh no, like I literally want to run around and have nobody know who I am. Like, I don't want anyone like watching. So when they said no spectators at grassroots, I sort of like celebrated a little bit. But to be fair, it was work has ramped right up again. So like, and with the academy, like the 23s, 19s, 18s, because they're part of education, we were able to come back a little bit earlier than the rest of grassroots. So we're back at it, doing a normal week, other than the first team, and have been for about 2 months now. So yeah, we're flat out. So in terms of me having time to go and run around and pretend to be a footballer, it's limited at the minute.
Mr. Heritage has received some abuse. I heard him called a poor man's Philip Schofield up front with that hair.
Well, it's better than being called a poor man's Rolf Harris.
But yeah, they were shouting out he was Kenny Rogers as well. I mean, you know. I
don't know how
he gives it as good as he gets, though.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So he played on the Saturday, then he played veterans on the Sunday, then he played six-a-side on a Monday. It was just mental. So yeah, if I'm that mobile at 60, which I definitely won't be, then fair play. But
no, he's top man, Pete.
Yeah, he is.
Chris, take care and have a good day, all right, mate?
Cheers, Chris. Thank you. All the best to family as well.
Same to you, mate. Take care. And that's it for another episode, Hastings fans. I hope you've enjoyed this one as much as I have. Remember, any feedback or suggestions, please email me on hufcpod@gmail.com or catch me on the Twitter @HUFC Podcast. Also, please visit our YouTube, which is Sussex by the Sea Podcast, in your search engine, and give us a comment, a like or two, and most importantly, try and subscribe. All that's left for me to say is, I've been your host, Chris Laverick. Hope you have a good couple of weeks, and see you again.